nearly crashed because taking off without permission? Emirates Flight 524 and 568. On Sunday, hundreds of lives were saved after a severe accident between two Emirates flights was avoided during takeoff at Dubai International Airport. According to the Emirates flight schedule, the departure times of both flights are 5 minutes apart. A second Emirates flight has been involved in an alleged serious incident while taking off from Dubai International Airport in less than a month, DXB. In the most recent occurrence, a Boeing 777-300 with seating for up to 427 passengers began speeding down the runway for departure without receiving clearance from air traffic control, and just as another plane was crossing the runway. What just happened? A crash on the runway? Did the plane crash when it had the speed of an elephant? Let's find out. Hello everyone, welcome to Mayday Investigation, your aviation-friendly channel where we walk you through high-profile air disasters to uncover how and why they happened. So subscribe now to climb into the cockpit and press the bell icon for an experience you won't soon forget. With that being said, let's take off. The incident resembles the 2001 Milan Linate airport catastrophe, in which 118 people were killed when a McDonnell Douglas MD-87 airliner operated by Scandinavian Airline (SAS) took off in a dense fog and collided with a small business jet taxiing along the runway. According to two separate sources, Emirates aircraft EK524 was scheduled to depart from Dubai's runway 30R on January 9, 2022. And began speeding down the runway without first obtaining authorization from air traffic control. However, the pilots of the Boeing 777-300 aircraft were unaware that a second Emirates-operated 777-300 with service to Bangalore was taxiing for departure and crossing the same runway as flight EK524 was beginning its takeoff roll. The pilots of EK524 were ordered to take off, but the aircraft had already hit 130 knots of indicated airspeed before the pilots denied the takeoff. Surprisingly, after taxiing back to a holding place on the airstrip, the flight was cleared to depart without problem 30 minutes later. Emirates operates 3 alternative seating configurations on its 777-300 aircraft, with a high-density, 3-class layout that is frequently utilized on Indian flights and can carry up to 427 passengers. A modified airplane with a smaller economy cabin can still carry 360 passengers. This claimed event occurred less than a month after Emirates aircraft EK231 from Dubai to Washington Dulles allegedly overran the runway to take off and become airborne almost at the end of the runway and safety area. Although the flight to Washington DC was uneventful, the Boeing 777-300 purportedly received damage on the way and had to be inspected upon arrival. The National Transportation Safety Bureau in the United States has classified the incident as an incident, but is not looking into it further. According to sources, the situation occurred because the crew from a prior flight had adjusted the altitude on the master control panel to airport elevation 0 feet. According to reports, Emirates fired all 4 pilots on the aircraft. The UAE's General Civil Aviation Authority has not officially acknowledged either event, though Emirates stated that it had forwarded the situation to the GCAA. A spokesman for the airline also stated that an internal investigation had been launched. According to Emirates, no injuries were reported, and the aircraft was deemed undamaged. Airline ratings ranked one of the world's 20 safest airlines, while the Hamburg-based jet airliner Crash Data Evaluation Center just named Emirates the world's safest airline. There has been a widespread worry in the aviation community that furloughed pilots are out of practice due to the pandemic's decline in travel demand. Several occurrences in recent months have been blamed on out-of-practice pilots, but there is currently no evidence to suggest that this was the case in this most reported incident. According to preliminary reports, flight EK524 to Hyderabad took off without ATC approval. At the time of the incident, Emirates had deployed Boeing 777-300ERs to the destinations. On January 9, 2022, a massive collision between two Emirates airline jets was avoided at Dubai Airport after takeoff. Flight EK524 from Dubai to Hyderabad was scheduled to depart at 21:45, and flight EK568 from Dubai to Bengaluru was scheduled to depart at 21:50. Unfortunately, the two planes arrived at the same moment on a single runway. Particulars of the incident. According to the Aviation Herald, the Boeing 777-300 registration A6EQA was forced to reject takeoff owing to crossing aircraft. The airplane was operating flight EK524, departing Dubai for Hyderabad at 21:45 local time on January 9th. When ATC told them to deny takeoff owing to a crossing aircraft, the 777 accelerated down Dubai International Airport's runway 30R. It had already reached a speed of around 100 knots over ground. Another 777-300 registered A6 EBY was crossing over runway 30R, utilizing taxiway M5A on its route to taxiway N4. The plane slowed and exited runway 30R behind the other 777 that had just passed it. The incident plane also utilized taxiway N4 to exit the runway, following A6 EBY. About 30 minutes after the denied takeoff, EK524 taxied back and departed. On the subject, Emirates sent the following comment to Simple Flying. On January 9th, flight EK524 was told by air traffic control to reject takeoff on departure from Dubai, which was successfully performed. There was no aircraft damage and no one was hurt. Our primary focus is always safety. As with any occurrence, we conduct our internal investigation. The UAE AAIS is also investigating the situation and we cannot speak further. The clearance to begin takeoff has not been granted. The airplane undertaking the crossing was permitted to cross runway 30R. The A6 EBY was entering the runway when A6 EQA began its takeoff roll, crossing midway down the runway 30R. According to two individuals who spoke to the Aviation Herald, flight EK524 began its takeoff roll without ATC approval. There was no damage to A6 EQA or injuries recorded during the event. Emirates stated on Thursday, January 13th, that flight EK524 had been instructed to abandon takeoff in the January 9th incident. The GCAA, the UAE's civil aviation regulator, has launched an investigation while the airline is conducting its internal investigation. One commentator on the Aviation Herald explained the occurrence, stating that the ATC directive, clear to cross runway 30R, could have been misheard by the EK524 crew as clear takeoff runway 30R. Different accents, such as Australian or South African, could have exacerbated this apparent mishearing. Thus, with EK524 lined up on the 30R and ready to begin takeoff roll, the event could be explained by the anticipation of clearance and inadequate communication. Of course, all of this is speculation at this point, because the investigation has only just begun. The Bengaluru-bound Emirates jet took off after ATC involvement, while the Hyderabad-bound Emirates flight returned to the taxi bay and took off a few minutes later. The UAE's aviation investigation body, the Air Accident Investigation Sector, has initiated an investigation. AAIS, the airlines were notified for a severe safety lapse. A close call. A6 EQA was speeding down the runway when ATC discovered it and instructed the crew to decline takeoff, while ADS-B data sent by the aircraft's transponder indicated that the jet attained a speed of 100 knots over the ground when it was 790 meters, 2,600 feet, down the runway. Other evidence suggests that the aircraft may have reached a speed of up to 130 KIAS, knots indicated airspeed, given that A6 EQA achieved 100 miles per hour over ground, 1,700 meters, 5,700 feet short of taxiway N4. Calculations show that the aircraft would have arrived at the crossing point in slightly over a minute, if we assume that the jet had continued to accelerate past that point of measurement. The situation may have been disastrous, depending on the speed of the passing jet. An internal investigation has also been launched against the aircraft's crew. Our primary focus is always safety. As with any occurrence, we are doing our internal inquiry. The incident is also being investigated by the UAE AAIS, according to an Emirates official. According to preliminary reports, the Hyderabad-bound EK524 was preparing to take off without ATC clearance. But till now, I was on the field adding a twist to the worsening environment. Do you think that these incidents can be avoided easily? By watching the video, let us know in the comment section what you think who has been responsible. Your comments are valuable, and we and our community read them. So make sure you leave your thoughts down below and contribute something back to us. That wraps up our video for today. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon to never miss breathtaking aviation stories. See you soon. Until then,